off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up by, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS Bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. Dfs Sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. Dfs Bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to The Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the Dfs Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Thursday night football single game DFS slate. Mostly Draftkings. We'll talk a little Fanduel as well. First things first, big thank you, a big cheers to you all. It's very, very early in the morning, so I probably look a little hammered. God, it's so early. And we're talking bungles and brownies like, ugh. God, right? But I'm actually a little excited for this game to see Joe get a full game of Joe Burrow. See if Baker Mayfield can respond to an awful week one. So a big cheers to you all. Grab some coffee and Bailey's. Enjoy the show. I really appreciate all the support and all the kind words. It's really humbling to me, and I truly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Get access to all of our content. Our first look was out. We did that with our boy Doug. Of course, we got our Thursday night football today. I've got links in the video description for Sportsbook Review. I'll be live today at 1 o'clock Pacific for Eastern, handicapping all the games over there. Special guests, everything else with my guy Donnie Seymour. So much stuff. Final looks and Sunday nights and Monday nights and value plays. And I'm going to try to get a Millionaire Maker Core 4 out. So lots of stuff. I don't know what happened right there. Lots of stuff. Title of the sex tape, by the way. There we go. It's early, but we can still get one of those out. There's another title of the sex tape. We're 2 for 2. But hit that subscribe button down below if you're inclined to do so. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. That helps the show more than you know. And by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our $50 weekly PayPal giveaway. And that's brought to you by our guys over at Tax Relief Advocates. These guys, their number would not be on my screen if they didn't help me so much this year. If you have $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 in tax debt or anything else the IRS is taking your money for, call these guys and gals. They will get it taken care of for you. It'll go away faster than, Baker Mayfield MVP talk. Okay? So be sure to give them a call, 1-800-411-9633. And a big thank you to them for sponsoring that $50 PayPal giveaway. We will announce that winner during our final look video, which will either be Friday night, Saturday morning. It just depends on scheduling. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. Go to overlaydfs.com. Great group of guys over there. Best customer service in the industry. It's a lot of fun. They now have their matchup shop set up where you can parlay players, take the over-under totals. You can go head-to-head if you want. A lot of fun over there at Overlay DFS. And as usual, for all your FanDuel and Draftkings picks, research tools for baseball, basketball, hockey, football. Obviously, hockey is winding down. Football. You want access to all the research tools as well as my player pool. And I'll show you how to get to that player pool at the end of the video. You can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. Use it in the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator for both FanDuel and DraftKings. Lots of good stuff there. Cash game optimizers, articles. I have my top 10 PPR rankings. Weekly rankings are up there. Later today, we'll have our top wide receiver cornerback matchups, something everybody loves. Best and worst wide receiver cornerback matchups, all here, Draft Dashboard. Click that link. So let's jump into it. Cheers to you all. So a quarterback, you got Burrow and Baker. Personally, I do think Joe Burrow will end up being the better player. I know that's sort of been the gas bag talking head debate this week. Cleveland's secondary is banged up. When you look at the practice report for this game, both of these teams are battling a lot of injuries. You have 3 offensive linemen, 3 potentially starting offensive linemen who were limited or did not practice yesterday. Conklin, Hubbard, J.C. Treader, and Jedrick Wills all were limited or did not practice. They're all questionable right now. They're two of their 3 starting corners, and Kevin Johnson and Greedy Williams have already been ruled out. Olivia Vernon was limited in practice. Jarvis Landry is a big question. He may not play tonight with a hip issue. So that's another big blow to Cleveland. And then when you look at the Cincinnati side, really the big stuff is here on the defensive end, on the defensive line with Geno Atkins and Mike Daniels. Both of them have been ruled out already. So both these teams already banged up. It's Thursday, and it's not to be unexpected. They didn't have a preseason. They're not used to hitting or getting hit. So I do think both quarterbacks are absolutely in play. Now, I think the key for these two teams is to run the football to win this game. I think you see that more with Kevin Stefanski as well. It's a lower scoring game, so I think I prefer the running backs today, but I'm going to have exposure to both quarterbacks. Right now, it just feels like Baker at home. You know, I'm not big on rookie quarterbacks on the road on a Thursday night game, their first one. Now, there's no fans, so that will eliminate some of that pressure for Joe Burrow. And those injuries to the secondary, I'm going to have exposure to both. Right now, I'll have a little bit more Baker. I think he's taken a lot of heat this week. I do kind of like this rushing upside we saw out of Joe Burrow. Like that little touchdown scamper last week. But you got to remember, over half of his DFS points last week against a tough Charger secondary, much tougher than he's going to face today. That was against the Chargers, you know. So, out running back, Joe Mixon, of course. Nixon's the best play on the slate right now. If you look at what he did to this Cleveland defense last year in his 2 games against Cleveland, a 31 and a 34. Should see more than the 2 targets. He's 8-6 on Draftkings. He's going to be up there on Fanduel. Now remember, on Fanduel, it doesn't matter who you put in the captain spot. Their salary stays the same. You just get the 1.5, 2 times the points. On Draftkings, they don't just give you 1.5 times the points. They charge you 1.5 times the salary. So it's a little bit more difficult. Now, Joe Mixon's 8-6. Nick Chubb, who only carried the ball 10 times last week, I think you see a heavier dose of Nick Chubb this week against, we talked about it, the Bengals missing 2 of their starting defensive tackles inside. This is where you're going to want to attack. Typically on DraftKings, I prefer Kareem Hunt because it's full PPR, and he's going to be more involved in the passing game. We saw the 6 targets last week, and I still do like Kareem Hunt at 7-4. 7-6 Chubb, 7-4 Kareem Hunt, but I really like Mixon. I think he's more involved in the passing game, and I think you'll get some lower-owned leverage on Nick Chubb just because people are like, wait, whoa, 11 touches in week 1? What the hell's going on here? For a guy who, was near the top in rushing yards last year, now it's a 2 running back setup. Now, if Jarvis Landry sits, you're gonna see both these guys on the field quite a ton. I just think the player most suited to take advantage of the weakness in that defensive front for the Bengals is Nick Chubb. I will certainly have exposure to both, and I might have them both in one lineup just to be a little bit different. Remember, this is a single game slate, so the opportunity for ties is immense. So if you're playing those bigger tournaments and you're trying to set yourself apart at the top, you need to leave some salary on the table. You need to try to do something different. So, playing two running backs from the same team might be an interesting way to go. You're taking all the running back points for Cleveland, and I don't hate that against a banged-up Cincinnati front. And then if you're looking for a little value, another way to be different, Giovanni Bernard. You never know. If Joe Mixon turns an ankle on the first play or he has a migraine, which he has battled with in the past, a guy like Giovanni Bernard could be interesting at 3K here on DraftKings. Let's go to wide receiver. We'll talk about some of the matchups. Now, the Bengals receivers, we don't really have a lot of data on their matchup because their corners aren't playing. Denzel Ward's going to see a lot of A.J. Green on the outside. He gave up 0.27 fantasy points per route ran against last week. Now, remember, this is a 1-week sample size, so it's very difficult, to put a ton of stock into this. There's a lot of good corners that got, like James Bradbury got burned by Smith-Schuster last week. So it looks like he's way worse than he actually is. So there's some things to keep in mind here. John Ross will see the replacement for Greedy Williams outside. It's going to be it's going to be bad over there. Here, I can actually pull that up, who the corner over there is going to be. Terrence Mitchell or Talvere Thomas. And then you're going to see some MJ Stewart as well. So A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd and John Ross do have advantageous matchups on the outside. You got A.J. Green at 9K. I think he's fine for some captain spot consideration. Jarvis Landry, we talked about it, battling that hip issue. He was the main He was the player who benefited the most last week, I guess, from Baker Mayfield, even though Odell Beckham was targeted more. I know there's a ton of talk about, Beckham wanting the ball more, etc., but he was still the most targeted player on the team. He had 10 targets. Just didn't convert. Odell Beckham's at 8-2 on DraftKings. I like Odell Beckham a lot. I think he has a bounce back game. Especially when they start having these sorts of talks. They're going to have to find unique ways to get him the ball. And again, when you look at the Cincinnati secondary, if I could talk, William Jackson, Mackenzie Alexander, Darius Phillips, they played well last week. That was against Tyrod Taylor. You would think Baker's a little bit more of an effective passer than Tyrod, although the jury might be out on that. If Landry does play, he'll see Mackenzie Alexander in the slot making his season debut, I believe, this week for Cincinnati. Let me double check and make sure he's not on the injury report this week. No, he does not appear to be. So there we go. So I do like that. Then on the other side, you got Tyler Boyd in the slot. You can see right here, it shows you on Draft Dashboard what percentage of the snaps the players played. So it kind of gives you an idea. It'll help you with some of those cheaper plays. We were kind of worried about John Ross. Well, John Ross played on 84% of the offensive snaps. Tyler Boyd, 81%. They didn't really get T. Higgins involved, the rookie out of TCU. He only played 22% of the snaps. So there's some risk there. But John Ross, Tyler Boyd, Odell Beckham, A.J. Green, all in play. Jarvis Landry, if he's active, of course. Now, the big question is, well, what happens if Jarvis Landry is out? Well, we got a couple of cheap options. Number one, you'll see a whole lot more Rashard Higgins in the slot. He played about a quarter of the snaps last week. He will step in as that number 3 receiver. And then you might be asking yourself, and he's 1,800 on DraftKings. So absolutely, you could splash him in. Salary savings, upside, going to be low owned. Then you look, who is the other guy who played receiver for Cleveland last week? Who's the number 3 guy or number 2 outside guy? It's Kaderil Hodge. He played 55% of the snaps in week 1. He was only targeted 3 times. He's 400 on DraftKings. I love that play. Love the salary savings, especially if Landry's out. He's going to be on the field even more, should increase his target share. Kaderil Hodge, one of those deep, deep sleepers that we always talk about on the show where we're trying to find that diamond in the rough to channel my inner Aladdin. Kaderil Hodge at 400. Looks interesting. If you're looking for a guy like that from the Bengals, Mike Thomas did see the field on 22% of the snaps, and in his limited time on the field, targeted 3 times. He's at 200 as well, but I think I like Kaderil Hodge down there at 400. And again, you can follow me on Twitter at Dfs Bachelor. As soon as I know who's in, who's out, especially the Jarvis Landry news, it will be up there on my Twitter page. Let's go to tight end. And a tight end, right? Who doesn't like a good tight end? Austin Hooper. So David Njoku now out. So finally we can have, maybe we can get full Austin Hooper. Now, he still played 77% of the snaps last week. It was only targeted twice. Baker Mayfield has to do a better job at getting him the ball. Again, if Jarvis Landry's out, it should bump the target shares for all these players. I do like Austin Hooper, 6,800 on DraftKings, and the tight end you want for the Bungles is CJ Uzoma. 5 targets last week, turned it into 9 points. He's at 5K. I think that's a really nice little play, too. I think you're going to see a lot of people jump on that Austin Hooper bandwagon now that Njoku's out. They're going to think, oh, now he's going to get the ball even more. He still played over 3/4 of the snaps, so it's not like Njoku was taking his time on the field. It was just they ran into a buzzsaw in a terrific Baltimore team and defense, and Baker Mayfield looked like shit, which he tends to do because Baker Mayfield is, he kind of reminds me of all this hype, the commercials, drafted high, Cleveland guy. Brady Quinn comes to mind. A little bit of Brady Quinn, like he's just going to bust, and there's a title of your sex tape too. Oh, God, it's too early in the morning for all of that stuff. Let's go to kickers. Unfortunately, yes. I wish they would just get rid of the fucking kickers on these slates. I really do. But they didn't. And they're both in play. They're 4,400 and 4,200 on DraftKings. That's actually a little bit expensive for kickers on here, on a single game DraftKings slate. But the bottom line is you could see a lot of red zone inefficiency with these two teams. They scored a total, these two teams, last week of 19 points. So you could see, a 16-13, 23-16 type game where there's 3 field goals by each team and maybe 1 touchdown. So, of course, both the damn kickers are in play. I actually believe one of the kickers was on the injury report, but he's going to play. Let me double check that. I thought Randy Bullock showed up. He did. His calves were hurting him. So Randy Bullock, there's a little bit of risk there with his calves hurting. That's just what it says. Injury, calves. Give me a fucking break. Didn't he pull up? Was he the kicker that pulled up lame, missing the kick last weekend? I'm trying to remember which kicker that was. Missed a kick, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I'm badly hurt. Might have been Randy Bullock, but regardless, Cody Parkey didn't score a single fucking point last week. I mean, there you go. But they're both in play, and the defenses are both in play. Now, I don't think either one, I don't think the Bengals have a good defense at all, but you're going against Baker Mayfield, who can throw 4 picks to a fucking junior varsity team. So there's some tournament upside there. I won't have a ton of it. And then you got the Cleveland Browns against a rookie quarterback on a short week, his first start on a Thursday night, and a division rivalry game with Myles Garrett coming at him and a bad offensive line. So both defenses you can make an argument for. I'll have a little bit more exposure to the Browns. I do think the Browns win a close, low-scoring game. I don't feel great about it because I do like Burrow better than Baker. It just feels like with all the flack Cleveland's getting this week that they'll probably get it done. So that's my look, early look, very early in the morning at tonight's Thursday Night Football slate. Again, you can get access to my entire player pool, see how it adjusts, check out the snap counts, the touches, the targets, all the research there. I have my player pool set for the NBA. I'll have it set for MLB, cheat sheets, write-ups, everything you can need, lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator. Click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool is you simply will see a Watched Players tab over here on the left, or if you don't have your screen zoomed out like I do, you can click these little 3 arrows right here, the menu arrow, click on Watch Players. Then that'll show you all of your watch players. Now, right now, I've got a bunch of, players that I'm watching for different slates and everything else, but I'll show you how to find it. Then you'll see a blue box if you use that link that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks, as well as a timestamp in Eastern Time when I last updated it. Then you can keep my player pool highlighted if you want. Go to the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generators up here. If there's a late swap in a game, maybe you have Landry in 20 lineups and then he gets ruled out and you need to fix it quick. You can upload your lineups from both sites. Upload the files into Draft Dashboard, late swap optimize, and re-upload into both Fanduel and Draftkings. Make sure when you're looking for single game, you click the single game tab right here and select the single game you're looking for. There's all those different single game slates to choose from. Classic is over there. So let's start on Draftkings. This is an interesting one that they made. CJ Uzoma as the captain. That's not going to fucking happen. So I do think there's a lot of value in Odell Beckham as a captain. I'm going to try to save a little bit of money here. Let's see if we can make one with Odell as captain. Let's just see if we can do it. I actually like the idea of Joe Mixon. So if you can just go to these arrows here. Let's see. So Joe Mixon's already in. So let's take him out and let's throw in a Nick Chubb, because I like Nick Chubb. And then let's throw in a Joe Mixon at the captain spot. We got A.J. Green there. We're going way over salary. But remember, we got the one thing in the bank down here. We can go all the way down to 400 and Kadarrell Hodge, giving us a ton of lineup flexibility. We still have 35 more hundred to go. So we could play both quarterbacks. We've got both running backs in here. We got a ton of upside here. So let's say, okay, we want to save a little with Kareem Hunt. You want to be PPR, or you want... Now we can keep Baker and we can get up to Odell Beckham. We leave 1,900 on the table. We have Mixon, Kareem Hunt, A.J. Green, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham. I think that's a really nice tournament lineup. In fact, I'm probably going to play it tonight. I think that's a nice tournament lineup. Again, you could do all that right here, Draft Dashboard. You can upload it into your site. Let's make one over on FanDuel as well. Again, it's a tournament. We're trying to do something different, right? You can also do it over here on FanDuel, single game. They'll generate the lineups for you, the watch players, everything else. Click the link, try it 30 days for $1. Don't forget to check out my guys over at Tax Relief Advocates, 1-800. Where the hell is that number? I already closed it out, but it's at the beginning of the screen. Thank you very much for their $50 PayPal giveaway. Check out our cheat sheets, everything else. My guys over at overlaydfs.com doing a great job there as well. And if you want to hear more from my stupid ass and with Donnie Seymour, where we handicap, we pick best bets, prop bets, everything else, come over to SBR. I'll have a link in that video description below as well. I'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and as usual, or 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, live Sunday morning as well, covering everything right before the games kick off. Live watch party on Monday Night Football, live on Tuesdays. Lots of stuff at SBR. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. A big cheers to you all. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck tonight. May the fantasy gods be with you all. Goodbye, folks.